Not just any community, this Plexus community. My Plexus community. In fact, I could go as far as to say, my Plexus family. You see, I didn't start this journey with vision or confidence. Far from it. I started as a shy, skeptical customer. Actually, a secret, shy, skeptical customer. I ordered a single bag of Slim, and I had no intention of doing anything more, but then my health shifted. And that shift, it didn't just change my health. It changed my marriage and my family. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I knew I had to share. I knew there were people out there that needed this. And what if I was the person that needed to go out and tell my story, right? Like, what if they would only hear about it if I shared? Was I willing to get over my fear to help another person? I had to be willing to speak up. So I made a post, just one. Didn't plan to ever do more than that either. But guess what? People needed it. I became a brand ambassador. And I was added to a team page. Does that sound familiar? Y'all, I rolled my eyes. I even told my husband, my sponsor thinks I'm going to do this as a business. That's so funny. I was a stay-at-home homeschooling mama with 7 kids at the time, and a special needs son. No business background. In fact, I had very little work experience at all. But I'm so grateful that my friend and sponsor, Heather Grenier, believed in me enough that she invited me in, even when I wasn't ready to say yes to this business. And so what changed? This community, being exposed to the bigger picture, hearing stories, watching others grow. One night on that team page that I begrudgingly joined, I stumbled onto a link with a live call with Diamond Ambassador Kelly Norman. She's not my upline, but her financial story mirrored mine in so many ways. And I remember having this moment of realization. I'm supposed to do this. This is what we've been praying for. So I called my husband, like shaking in my boots, heart racing, saying, honey, I'm supposed to do this. Not long after that, I heard another Diamond Ambassador was coming to my town. It was Sonia Dudley. Not my upline, but she was the speaker at my very first in-person event. I watched as she cast vision, stirred dreams, and then at the end of the meeting, she invited silvers to stand, and then golds to stand, rubies, emeralds, right, so on. And in that moment, seeing people just like me who had achieved every rank, making real income, living with purpose, it grew my belief and it lit a fire in me. That's the power of this bigger Plexus community. People that you've never met, who don't financially benefit from your success, and yet they'll still show up to build your belief. I'll never forget my very first Plexus convention, just a few months after that event. It was right after my son Judah had been hospitalized. I had a baby on my hip, our 7th-child Valentine. I wasn't used to traveling alone. My heart was heavy with grief after receiving a new diagnosis for our son. Everything in me wanted to stay home, but I knew I had to show up. And from the moment that I arrived at the airport, this community also showed up. Cross-line ambassadors helped me with my stroller, held my baby. They encouraged me like I was one of their own. Because you know what? I was. I remember sitting in a breakout session before my rank and taking notes in the back of the room like my life depended on it. Little Malachi was crawling at my feet. And y'all, some of those notes were the key to the momentum that later followed in my business, helping me earn Ruby and then Senior Ruby and beyond. But even before that, they helped me earn my very first leaders retreat. Do you hear the progression in my journey? An online event, followed by an in-person event, convention, and then leaders retreat. It was at that leaders retreat I experienced another defining moment. Diamond Ambassador Jennifer Lee was in the hotel room right next to mine. Her Diamond documentary had just been released, and Chad and I were starstruck. We asked her for one piece of advice, and she said something that shifted everything. I asked my husband and children to give me 1 year. I remember driving home from that leaders retreat in our big old 12-passenger van, kids piled in the back, and my husband and I looking at each other saying, let's do the same. Let's make this our plan A, and let's go in for 1 year. Once we made that decision, we got to work. We shifted our calendar, we adjusted our family rhythms, and we built new habits that supported the vision. I was hungry to grow, and I knew no one could do it for me. I had to take ownership of my journey. My approach was simple. I leaned into what scared me. If I was avoiding it, I did it. I gave myself permission to fail forward. I stayed self-aware, and I constantly asked, what's the next thing I need to learn? What's the next thing I need to do? And then I put in the effort to find the tools that I needed. The amazing thing, you guys, most of them were right at my fingertips, thanks to this community. I committed to watching one Plexus training every single day and reading a personal growth book every single month. I studied the leaderboard emails, and then I would search the top names on social media. I'd watch what they were doing, and then I'd go down the rabbit hole on YouTube to see if they had any content. I binge-watched Diamond documentaries. I subscribed to every leader that I could find, and I soaked up every nugget of wisdom like my next breakthrough depended on it. Because friends, it did. Everything that you need to learn and grow is literally at your fingertips. Whatever you need to grow in, there's a podcast, a YouTube training, or a book on that topic. The only question is this: are you willing to take ownership of your growth and use what's already available to you? That's the beauty of this bigger Plexus community. Even if someone's not your direct upline, they may become your greatest teacher. And the generosity of these leaders, actually sitting right in front of me right now, has impacted me more than they will ever know. The next month after we made these changes, forming new habits, my husband Chad reached senior gold, and I went Ruby. That spring, I reached senior Ruby, and then in the fall, 11 months after Jen Lee gave us that advice, we became an Emerald Ruby couple. But friends, Emerald was the most marking breakthrough ring for our family, but more than that, it was a marking season for me as a leader. It was a necessary, growing season that I needed to walk through before going on to Sapphire, Diamond, and beyond. Because at some point in this journey, a shift has to happen, where it stops being about what Plexus or this community can offer to you, and it becomes about what you can even offer to others. It's not simply about what you can get, it's about what you can give. It's answering the questions, who am I? And why am I here? And what is the legacy that I'm leaving? It's no longer about fitting someone else's mold. It's about leading as yourself, owning your story, your voice, your pace, and your place. That season helped clarify my vision, my mission, and my purpose. I evaluated and broadened my definition of success. I grew my why, and I started leading out of conviction and calling. I realized I don't have to be the loudest. I just have to be faithful. Faithful to show up. Faithful to serve. Faithful to believe in others until they believe in themselves. And that's where the real growth happens. It's not just in numbers. The growth happened in culture and connection and calling. That shift in leadership had also changed how I built my team. I had to acknowledge not everyone who joins us is called to go diamond. Many will come for different reasons and for different seasons. But my desire is this: whether they're on my team for a month, a year, or a lifetime, Whether this is a hobby for them or a career, they leave better because they were here. Some come for the products, some come for purpose, and some, they come for community. So while our team absolutely celebrates big wins and exciting breakups, we also celebrate small, steady victories. We often do giveaways and incentives that have nothing to do with building a business and everything to do with building a connection. Some of our retreats are earned, but others are open to anyone. And even within those retreats, we long to connect with each person in their own season, to find out their desires and to meet them right where they are. Because every single person matters. And I want everyone to know that they belong, whether they're here just to build or to be. This business is built on relationships and trust. And when you create space for people to belong, without pressure, but with inspiration and vision, they will grow in ways that you never expected. One of my favorite examples of this is my friend and Sapphire Ambassador, Morgan Johnson. She too started in secret. I remember her asking me not to make a post welcoming her to our tip page. She was willing to be on it, she just didn't want people to know that she was on it. She was a secret customer for 8 months, and she only started sharing to help me go emerald. She's a true yellow personality, just like me. She was motivated out of her desire to help me. She earned her first leaders retreat on accident, simply focused on helping people. It wasn't until she did her taxes for the first time that it hit her, wait, this is an actual business, so like making real money. And now she's a total powerhouse and a leader on our team. But here's what I want you to hear. She didn't need pressure. She needed space. She needed support. She needed someone to see her potential, let her rise into it in her own timing. And that's what we can give to others. A safe place to grow, a soft space to land, and a vision that gently stretches them into their God-given potential. So whether you're here just to help a friend, you're curious about what this community is all about, or maybe you've been feeling that what if stirring in your own heart, let me remind you, you belong here. We have need of you. Your voice matters. Your pace is allowed. Your process is welcome. And when you're ready, get loud. Get loud in belief. Get loud in service. Get loud in love. Because someone out there needs to hear your story. And you might be the only one that they'll listen to. So let's be a community that gets loud about what matters the most. Health, freedom, purpose, and people. Because when we do, lives change, businesses grow, and this movement gets stronger. Thank y'all so much.